Well, the trade market is pretty quiet right now, and the Cardinals especially. But as the month of January now rolls on and 2026 is underway, there still are plenty of rumors swirling about Brendan Donovan, Nolan Arenado, Jojo Romero, all these types of things the Cardinals could do in the month of January. Chaim Bloom made some comments today about the current state of the trade market and what he expects the Cardinals to be doing. And so today we want to talk about, is Nolan Arenado to the Angels maybe even more likely scenario now? What is the status of Brendan Donovan? And in general, how should the Cardinals be viewing their roster, and how many guys should they actually be open to trading? Is there a point where you make so many trades that you turn into the Pirates of the world where it never ends? We'll talk about all this on this episode of Deal on the Card. Hey, welcome into Deal on the Cards, Josh, Sandy, and Andrew. Welcome to 2026. We did our New Year's predictions, Andrew and I, last episode. Maybe we'll get a few randoms from Sandy in this episode too, and get kind of his. I don't know if you caught the episode, Sandy, but Andrew had Grok make predictions for you, and they were interesting to say the least. Well. So we should find those again later.
The last one is a Sandy prediction. I think, what was it? The rotation will be good, top 10 ERA.
Oh, yeah.
Finish with 85 wins.
I think the rotation is going to be bottom 5. That's my prediction.
Yeah, I heard Sandy thinks Hunter Dobbins and Richard Fitz are both going to be 1, 2 in Cy Young. But we'll let him say it for himself later. So
you're going to be actually 2-3 after Michaelis wins it.
Oh yeah. Out for is he coming back to the Cardinals though? That's the
he is. Yeah.
But as we're getting rolling, thanks again as always for everyone tuning in. We've got a fun. Looks like we got a good crowd so far. And if you're tuning live, that's awesome. If you're listening later on audio or YouTube, subscribe, like the video, helps out a ton. If you're on audio, rate and review, that also helps us out as well. Comment down below your thoughts as we go through. Steve and Adam, nice to see you in the chat already. I did want to start this episode referring back to a prediction I made on last episode that I think sparked some interesting conversation that I kind of want to get your guys' gauge on, and then I want to give my take on, because I agree with the sentiment that was being out there, but then I felt like we were getting flack for something I don't feel like we are doing. But was being attached to it. So basically, one of my predictions, and you can go back and listen to it, and I'll explain a little bit more of the why behind it in this one too, but a prediction, and again, I wasn't saying this is for sure going to happen, I just reading the tea leaves of how this year could go if the Cardinals pitching development works well, and you've got a lot of number 3, number 4, or maybe I should say a lot of number 5 starter types, maybe number 4s, and hopefully number 3s with the Liam Doyles and the Quinn Matthews and the higher end of Tanner Franklin's of the world, those type of guys, Brandon Clark's of the world being your more frontline guys, but they're not ready yet coming up, then I think you have ability to potentially flip one of those guys later for even more prospects, because you've got a ton of those guys. And so my eyes went to Matthew Liberatore because he has the least amount of control of both those arms. And I think he's a guy that if he's a strong 2026 season, could be a very attractive trade candidate at a deadline for a different team or in the offseason. So I made a prediction that I think the Cardinals will trade Matthew Liberatore in 2026, because once they move most of their obvious trade candidates this offseason, I think their eyes will start to wander toward, okay, is there anyone else we can maximize value on during this window of we're rebuilding? And Liberatore, I think, is a guy that could end up being that. And I think in the live chat on in replies, there's been a lot of people like, oh, that's interesting, that could happen. And that's how I felt about it. I wasn't saying they're going to do it. It was just a prediction of like, oh, I could see this happening. But then there were some responses, and I think they're fair, but I don't get totally where we're being attached to it. And I want to get your guys' take on it. I want to hear listeners too. If you're listening on live stream, listening later, let us know your thoughts. That at what point are we are people just kind of grasping at straws a little bit, trying to throw out every name under the sun that the Cardinals could trade? Because some people were saying, well, I've seen people say they should trade JJ Weatherholt, Mason Wynn. I'm like, okay, well, first of all, our podcast has never said that. Now, if the Cardinals got a Godfather offer for one of those two, sure, you do it. But no one's saying they need to be putting Mason Wynn or JJ Weatherholt on the trade block, other than maybe a random Twitter user. Because, I mean, in this world, there's probably a take out there where someone thinks Albert Pujols wasn't a good player. Everyone has a take, so you could find that take anywhere you want. But I think we've been pretty consistent in lining up with, okay, the guys that they should be listening on are the guys that's being reported on. Brendan Donovan, which even we would want to keep, but we understand listening on. Nolan Arenado, Sonny Gray, and Wilson Contreras, which they already moved, Larson Newbar, Nolan Gorman. And then as the next year goes on, we're going to move our eyes to other names that could make sense. But I don't think potentially listening on a Matthew Liberatore puts the Cardinals in the conversation of other teams that just consistently trade away every player that starts to get good and turns into a perpetual rebuild. And so I guess, to my question to you guys is, do you feel like our analysis or other analysis is starting to lean too heavy in that way, that we're starting to, like, the Cardinals should trade all these people and that's pointless. Like, you need to keep guys and it's getting too heavy that way. Or that you actually expect that we're going to get to a year from now and the Cardinals are doing that, where we're like, okay, now they're starting to look like the Pirates, where anytime a player gets good, they don't pay him, they trade him. Or I feel like what we're actually doing here is we're saying, okay, during this hopefully small window of true rebuild, which is 2026 and maybe 2027, you trade guys that don't make sense for that window, but you hold on to everyone else who is high upside. I feel like that makes sense. So Sandy, see you nodding, but like, does that make sense? Do you feel like we're going overboard on it, or in general, some people are going overboard on it, or do you feel like that criticism is maybe a little overblown?
Yeah, well, I think it just really depends on how you think we view the rebuild, right? So if we've seen comments in here before that say this is a 10-year rebuild. And sure, if you think it takes 10 years to overhaul a big league club, which I think is wrong, I think that's clearly wrong. But I think if you think it takes 10 years to fully rebuild an organization, the Cardinals are in need of a full rebuild, then it makes sense to trade a guy like JJ Weatherholt, because he's not going to be in your window. 10 years from now, JJ Weatherholt's in his early 30s. And he is old. He's beyond where Donovan is for you right now. And he's making a lot of money, might be losing a step already at that point, So if that's what you believe, then sure. But if not, there's literally no reason to ever trade a JJ Weatherholt, because the Cardinals window probably opens in 2 or 3 years, because most organizations are a good 2 or 3 year, well-managed retool, rebuild, whatever you want to call it, away from contention, right?
Yeah, and contention, at least a wild card team, right? Like, I feel like almost
Exactly.
every team, if not every team, should be 2 to 3 years away from being interesting, and maybe 4 to 5 years away from being a true contender with things breaking right. But to your point, I feel like any team that says they're a 10-year rebuild, that's where you get to the Pirates or whatever, because you're basically, your GM's job is to always convince
on top of each other.
Yeah, and you're like always telling people, oh well, in 2 years is going to be interesting, but then 2 years later you're like, well, in 2 years is going to be. Look, I don't think the Cardinals are trying to.
That's how you end up being the Rockies. But the problem, like, so if you think that's, and look, I see like Joe in here says, absolutely not 10 years. I promise, I've seen it. I've argued with people about it. There are plenty of people that believe it takes that long to overhaul a major league organization.
Which it should.
I think it's ridiculous on its face. But if that's what you believe, then yeah, it makes sense to trade these guys. And that might be what would happen in that sense. But otherwise, there's literally no scenario in which you trade JJ Weatherholt, because what would you have to get back for JJ? Unless it was one of these rare, like, pure baseball trades where the Cardinals moved JJ for like a number 2, like a young, controllable number 2 or something like that, or like really impactful pitching. It'd have to be something so far away. It'd be like a number 1 overall pick out of high school, or it'd be like an Eli Willits or something. It would make 0 sense to make a trade like that. So no, I don't think you're going to see that. And we haven't suggested that they trade JJ Weatherholt or even Mason Wynn, because there's just no logical scenario where it makes sense.
But so that's where I feel like there's a difference between when I see like people are and I mean, it happens on social media, and I'm not. I feel like sometimes we've done a poor job where we'll respond to just really crazy things, and most people don't believe it. But I wanted to respond to this crazy, I think, or what I felt like is unfair criticism, to actually talk about an interesting point that I think people are talking about, which is, are the Cardinals trending toward where they're going to just start flipping too many players and they start to look more like these small market teams where they really shoot themselves in the foot constantly and they don't end up contending like they should, because every time they start to get good, they trade those good guys away. To me, again, if someone feels like Matthew Liberatore is a frontline starter, then this is different. It is. But I personally think, yes, Matthew Liberatore at times could probably pitch like a number 2, maybe, and I think more realistically a number 3, but he's probably more of capped out a number 3 middle of the rotation starter, which probably more of a back end guy who has better games than most back end guys do, but overall is going to be in the high 3s, low to mid 4s ERA. A player like that, to me, in stages like this, is the type of guy that you don't force a trade. I'm not saying the Cardinals have to get rid of Matthew Liberatore. I'm not saying that at all. But he's the exact type of guy that you flip into more potential Matthew Liberatores to continue to fund this rotation moving forward. Or hopefully you bank, or you get a guy who no one's going to trade you a future ace for Matthew Liberatore, but maybe you identify a guy in another organization like, hey, if we make a few tweaks here, this guy in 3 to 4 years could be a frontline starter. And Liberatore is the kind of arm I'd flip that, because Chaim Bloom has done really well this offseason, and he's brought in Richard Fitz, Hunter Dobbins. They have Michael McGreevy. They have Andre Palante. They did just sign Dustin May. They've got Eshawn Henderson, Brayden Davis. Bryson Motts, Quinn Matthews. They have a ton of young pitching. Now, some of those guys aren't going to be good. Some of those guys are going to get hurt. So I'm not here to tell you they're solved on pitching. Actually, they're not. They really lack They lack a defined true frontline starter right now. Like Liam Doyle, we still have no idea if he'll end up being that, right? Like odds are he probably isn't because that's just how things work, but we hope so. Quinn Matthews can maybe be a low end version of that, but he's not like for sure. Brandon Clark is super risky, but has the talent. Tanner Franklin, I mean, even more risky and probably not going to happen, but he could be. And so like a guy like Matthew Liberatore, personally, I think in 2027, when he's 2-3 years away from free agency, is he more valuable to you in 2020, 2029, becoming more expensive and approaching free agency, or is he more valuable to you as a guy who gets you a bunch of prospects in return? That was the point I'm throwing out there. I feel like if we start to get so antsy, we're like, okay, should they trade Ivan Herrera now? Should they trade Mason Wynn now? 2 years from now, oh, should JJ Weatherall be traded? That's where I feel like we're missing the boat here. But I think throwing out a name like Matthew Liberatore, or honestly, I'm not saying this is what it should be, but like guys like Victor Scott should not be untouchable right now. Like I cannot envision a trade happening right now because I just don't see a team giving you what the Cardinals would need to make that happen, because I don't really know who's giving up prospects that are like exciting for Victor Scott right now. But like,
Yeah.
he's not untouchable, and neither is Jordan Walker. But like, I'd say JJ Weatherall technically isn't untouchable, and neither is Mason Wynn, but you're not like, I have a hard time envisioning a scenario where either of those guys get moved. Same with Ivan Herrera. Andrew, do you like agree with that sentiment that we're kind of getting here, and that we can jump into the Arenado Donovan stuff? Because I know that's what we wanted to go for. But
I don't think anybody should really be untouchable. Like I don't think the Cardinals have those kinds of players right now, right? Like,
yeah.
JJ, sure, he's like top 5 prospect in all of baseball. He's not really like, I don't really consider him like part of the team yet, right? Like, because he's not, he hasn't played at the major league level. But even like, Ivan Herrera, if there's a team that views him as a catcher and the Cardinals have all this catching depth and they're willing to give up what it would take to get somebody like that, especially offensively, then sure. I mean, I wouldn't be entirely opposed to doing it. I would hope it fits the Cardinals timeline, getting guys that aren't like fresh out of high school or like, international guys that you just signed. Like, I would hope that there are guys that are closer to major league ready, but I could see that happening at some point. Maybe not this offseason, but maybe next offseason that becomes a thing if Bernal and some of those guys end up really panning out. But yeah, I would say like Matthew Liberatore, I feel like some people kind of overrate how promising, his ceiling could be. Like we saw, we went into the season thinking he was reliever, right? Like I'm pretty sure we were all like looking at Liberatore as a reliever, and then Matz ends up going to the bullpen. They let Liberatore start, and he ends up being a lot better than we thought. But he's still not like, he's not the guy the Cardinals have been looking for this whole time, right? Like I don't think he has frontline starter potential, and I feel like for the most part, you just need to be open to moving on from some of those guys. Like I know Cardinal fans get attached to their favorite players, and yeah, there's a time and place for extending guys and doing that kind of thing. But I feel like Matthew Liberatore, like there's not really that much ceiling there to tap into. And I don't know if he necessarily fits the timeline of when this team is going to be good, right? Like you're going to need those guys when the team is really ready to contend. And I wouldn't say that you should just trade him right now, but like, he's one elbow injury away from, being just nothing, right? Like he could just blow out his arm in spring training and then something could happen. So I think it doesn't make sense to just like hold on and hoard these guys. And I'm just a hater, right? Like, yeah, okay.
Well,
great.
I mean, I think both of us just agree with you. So I guess we're all haters. That's true. But
I mean,
to your point,
I would say I don't know if I'd go with he's one elbow injury away. Like that's true for every pitcher.
Yeah,
I don't think that the Cardinals, like I think that kind of insinuates that the Cardinals have, or implies that the Cardinals have like urgency to trade him, because I don't think that's true.
No, they don't.
It doesn't,
but I'm saying like
at the same time,
I feel like he's closer to his ceiling right now than he is to his floor. Because his floor is he blows his elbow out.
I would agree with that.
His ceiling is like pretty close to where he's at, right? Like he just stays healthy. He's like a 3.5, like high threes guy, and I feel like that's what you're gonna expect out of someone like him.
And it's a really valuable player.
Yeah, it's good.
It's a great player that every roster would love to have. But you're right. I think that it just depends on whether people think the Cardinals are going to go all in when they have the opportunity to do so.
Yeah.
Like the difference between the Cardinals model that I think they'll operate under, and I think Josh has touched on this many times, but like the difference between what the Cardinals model should look like and the Rays model, which people criticize all the time, is like when the Rays get good, they get good because they have several players that pop off and then they immediately trade those players. Versus what the Cardinals should be able to do is once things look good and you have a couple of really good players, you should be able to extend those players or keep them around and supplement or augment that core.
Yeah.
And that's what the Cardinals should be able to do once they're really good. They can't do the Dodgers-Yankees model, which is like have a great farm system and pay the whole world and bring in top-tier free agent talent every offseason. But they certainly can do the thing where you have homegrown talent that finally, like it's good enough. And you decide, okay, we're going to go all in on this hand instead of folding, where it kind of feels like the Rays fold all the time or they never call. It's like the Cardinals should be able to do that. So I think it's like they don't have to trade all these good players all the time. It's just make sure you're ready to go all in. But I think they will. They will go all in eventually.
Yeah. But I also think there's a delineation too between extending a great player versus a good player versus an average player. And I think Liberatore more falls in the good to average player than he does a good to great player. And it's the good to great and great players that the Cardinals have to extend long term and keep around because they're not going to sign him in free agency most likely. I do hope and believe that the DeWitt family will maybe change with the times a little bit and maybe target one of those types of guys in the future, but they're never, like you said, they're never going to be the Dodgers where in an offseason they'll go sign 2 or 3 of them. They're going to have to figure out how to replenish the farm system. But if you're going to play that game, then the Matthew Liberatores of the world are the ones you have to replace internally. You can't, yes, it's the Atlanta Braves model, but the Atlanta Braves don't re-sign their number 4 starter to a 5-year deal. They re-sign Ronald Acuna to it, right? They re-sign Ozzie Albies
when he's young.
Exactly. They re-sign those guys long term, and Matthew Liberatore is the types that they're not afraid to trade away and they're not afraid to lose. Like Dansby Swanson, they let him go. I'd say he's a good to great player, and they decided he's not worthy of the extension. I think Matthew Liberatore is more the good to average player. And so that's where I throw him out there is like, in theory, you should have Hunter Dobbins replace those innings. You should have Richard Fitz replace those innings. You should have Eshawn Henderson replace those innings, not pay Matthew Liberatore $15 million to $20 million a year to keep pitching for you. Because what the Cardinals need to do is to save that money to re-sign their internal stars and to have the ability to go out into free agency and to sign a number 1 starter if they're missing one, or to sign that middle of the order bat if they're missing one. But if you keep extending the Matthew Liberatores of the world, that's how you get stuck where they were in the 2023, 2024, where in 2022, where they had these expensive rotations, but they weren't good because they had 4 or 5 guys under contract who were like number 3 guys at best, but they're more number 4, number 5s. So that's my point with all that. And anyways, I don't know if you guys have anything else to add to that, or we can move into the Nolan Donovan stuff, but
yeah, I mean, I feel like these are the kinds of, like, Liberatores are the kinds of guys that they were signing in the past, right? Like, I don't think any of those guys were, quite up to his level, but like this close, right? Like Kyle Gibson, like you're signing these guys that are giving you bulk innings, and you really shouldn't be doing that. You should be developing those guys and putting your money towards those frontline starters, or even developing those frontline starters where, it's just, to me, it's too risky. Plus, I mean, I've heard Matthew Liberatore might be a very expensive extension.
Oh my gosh, don't. But so real quick, again, Ralph, we're projecting. So Ralph said in the chat, disagree, Matthew's only 25. Yes, we know that. Like today, Matthew Liberatore is far more valuable than Kyle Gibson and Lance Lynn were because he's getting paid like $2 or $3 million and is a better pitcher. But when he hits free agency, again, we're talking big picture here. We're not saying the Cardinals have to do this today. It was a prediction for basically the end of 2026. It was like a 300-day away prediction that I think we got some flack for, or I got some flack for at least. And we're talking about when the Matthew Liberatores of the world hit free agency, that's the guy where I'm not saying the Cardinals can never re-sign a guy like that. There might be worlds where it's like, oh yeah, they do need a starter like that. They wish they had the internal options. They don't. They got to re-sign him. But he's not the guy that I'm like, oh, you have to hold on to because he's a pretty good starter that's young. You hope that your pitching development's so good that you can pump out guys that have been like Matthew Liberatore so far, or hopefully better, in your rotation consistently, where you can let those guys go, and you could be the team that trades for Garrett Crochet and re-signs him long term. I would much rather be doing that than re-signing a bunch of guys that are 3, 4, 5s. That's the whole point to it.
To add to that real quick, I don't think people are understanding that when you extend a young pitcher, in order to get that, you're buying out their pre-arb or arb years a lot of times, right? So if you want to extend Matthew Liberatore today, he loses like all of his value, like if you extend Matthew Liberatore right now, you've got him probably at close to fair market value, or, about market value. And what that means is now you're paying him $15 million a year right now. Maybe that gets you a bargain when you'd have those free agent years. So if you extend him like 6 years, for example, which is a really long time, they shouldn't do that. But if you did, you'd pay him a lot of money now so that you could pay him a little bit less money later. But the whole point of Matthew Liberatore being valuable to the Cardinals is that he costs you basically nothing right now.
Yep.
So you'd lose that. It just makes no sense. You're no longer working with a surplus at all.
Yep.
Also, with a guy like Matthew Liberatore, who I think is good, and I see people saying, oh, he could get better. Maybe he could get better. But I think, one, the problem's the same as it's always been. It's an inability to maintain velocity. If Libby can maintain velocity into the 8th inning, he can be what he was for that one start in Tampa Bay, if you guys remember how awesome that was, where he's throwing 98 miles an hour in the 8th inning from the left side, and he looks like an ace. But if you can't do that, which you couldn't last year, his fastball velocity was way down, especially in the second half, then it's the same issue. And he's a 5 or a 4, 3 on a good day, maybe 3 in like April and May. So it causes problems for you. And you just, it's no longer worth it. And then you'd also be basically untradeable because you'd be trying to move, $60 million in the aggregate, which other organizations are going to look at and say, yeah, I'd rather just commit, $25 million a year for 2 years to this pitcher that I think is actually better.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, Enrico hits the nail on the head. Let's just let him pitch right now, right? None of us are saying they need to extend him right now or make an extension or make any decision on that, or saying they need to trade him today. This was a future conversation about, hey, I think there's a world where actually Matthew Liberatore pitches pretty well this year, proves a little bit of the velocity. Like my take actually started from a place of complimenting him. If I actually think he'll figure it out a little bit this year, he'll give you a little bit more innings. He'll even be a little bit more effective, and less. Maybe the overall numbers won't look that much better, but he'll be a little bit less volatile. And I think then teams will look at him and be like, man, 3 years of control left. We would love to acquire an arm like that for a rotation. And the Cardinals, who aren't in contention mode, he's not as valuable to them when you have a bunch of other guys that maybe are a little bit worse than him, but can fill those innings in these years when you're pursuing upside right now. That's where I was throwing that out there. And then again, when we're talking about Matthew Liberatore isn't valuable to him long term, we're talking about in 2028 and 2029, assuming he doesn't take that jump, because again, we could look so dumb where we're having a podcast episode at the end of August being like, Matthew Liberatore is in contention for Cy Young right now, they should extend him. Like, you just never know how player development's going to go. But on this track right now, Matthew Liberatore looks like the kind of pitcher that is good, especially when you're contending that they should love to have these kind of guys long term. But in this weird 2-year window, he's the type of guy that you consider moving. You don't have to do it. I'm not slamming the table right now that they don't trade him next year or two. They're idiots. Just projecting a fun prediction. But I do think it made an interesting conversation, especially about the state of pitching and their young players, of how they should be managing that so far. So we'll move into the Nolan Arenado talk here, Brendan Donovan stuff here. I do want to, as we thank our presenting sponsor, 314 Sports Cards and Collectibles. They've got awesome box sets, packs, all kinds of things in their store. I did this last few episodes. I'll do it again today. Did a fun thing where if we get to a certain like goal, I'll rip a pack, and if you can guess one of the players that's going to be in the pack, then we'll give away opening day tickets. And so we'll do that again here as well today. I'm going to say if we can get up to 50 likes in the stream, we will rip a pack and try this, maybe 2 packs. And so how we did is we gave you like 30 seconds to type it in, but we'll get to that when we get there. We got a bunch of people have jumped in during this conversation, so hopefully we can hit that like goal. It's super fun. But as always, we want to thank 314 Sports Cards and Collectibles. They're the presenting sponsor of the Deal on the Cards podcast. They're located at 9640 Olive Boulevard in Olivet. Open 10 to 5 Monday through Friday and 10 to 4 on Saturdays and Sundays. They buy, sell, and trade all sports cards and Pokemon cards. Has new selections of packs, boxes, and single cards of local players and stars from around the league. Make sure you check them out. Again, we'll rip this pack later, or maybe another one as well. Let you guys guess players in it for potential opening day tickets. So again, as we're going through the podcast, let us know what you think of that conversation. We're trying to follow the chat as we go through too. We'll also jump on this Nolan Arenado talk here in a second, Brendan Donovan stuff. But again, if we hit that 50 like goal during the stream, we'll rip a pack or 2 and see if we can give away some tickets. These are harder to guess, I'll be honest. So maybe I'll try to get Topps Chrome or something again soon. But yeah, great. Make Josh spend money. That's the motto.
Increasing payroll here.
Increasing payroll, Deal on the Cards.
Oh, I didn't do this. I was too busy typing in the chat.
The Eric Fetty. Oh boy. Okay, so let's jump in to the Nolan stuff first. It's the thumbnail today. As my boy Caleb, man, they're not playing well today. Come on, Bears. I feel like I've been saying it for a while now. I know you guys have too. I feel like Nolan's destined to be an angel. It just feels that way to me. I don't agree. I think Andrew and I talked about this a little bit last time. I can't remember for sure if we did. I don't agree with the angst that people have that Nolan's going to be on the team in 2026. I really would be shocked. Like, I know last year we're like 90% chance. Like, we were overconfident. I would be shocked if the Cardinals have him on the roster next year, because I truly don't believe that Chaim Bloom is going to allow anything to stop that. He did it again today. He said it 3 or 4 times publicly that we believe it's best for Nolan and it's best for us that we part ways. And he is a future Hall of Famer. I agree with Chaim. It sucks that it's ending this way. But Nolan is no longer the kind of player you build around anymore. He doesn't fit the timeline. He's obviously regressed a ton, makes a decent amount of money. And even if it takes a Dexter Fowler type trade where the Cardinals eat 85-90% of the deal to move him, I think they're going to do it, because any money saved is money saved at this point. And you move him to another team, and if you only save $8 million total, well, guess what? Now you don't have to pay him that $8 million, and it saves you a little bit of money there. And you free up an infield spot that you don't have to figure out anymore, because right now it is slightly complicated to fit things with JJ and Gorm and Sid JC and Donovan, even though we think Donovan will be gone. I mean, do you guys have any doubt in your mind right now that Nolan's getting traded as we're now past the January point? I also think it's important to remember, like, a lot of the third base market hasn't moved yet. So, like, what are you going to do with that? But do you guys think there's any chance Nolan is not, or is on the Cardinals next year, and then we'll jump into the Angels and Diamondbacks and all these other potential teams?
I think the issue is just that, like, I have only heard the Angels recently, and I have heard nothing else about any other teams. Like, we heard the Diamondbacks a little bit, but like, that doesn't seem to have materialized into much of anything. And, like, I'm glad that Okamoto signed with the Blue Jays, right? Because I don't think the Blue Jays were involved on an Arenado, and I feel like that's kind of one of the mid-tier third base options that finally moved off. But, you know, he might end up playing outfield. He might end up playing first base for them. So I don't really know where he's going to end up. But I think, you know, with the Angels, like, they're such a mess, and they like these name brands where, like, they always go out and sign these guys that are like that, you know, right? Like, they always go out and get a name that you recognize, and not necessarily a name that is, like, good. Like, they went out and got Alek Manoah, Jordan Romano, I think they signed as well. Like Grayson Rodriguez. These are guys that haven't pitched and just haven't been necessarily, like, great. But I also do think that, like, it's possible that they just wouldn't get anything back, right? Like, I don't think they would get anything back for Arenado, especially if there's only, like, a couple of teams that would actually be interested in him. I'm trying to think of, like, other teams that need third base help, like the Red Sox maybe again, but it seems like they don't really seem too interested in him. I don't think the Astros are going to be in on that. The Dodgers are definitely not going to be on that. Maybe the Cubs will be in on that, but I think at that point I'll just stick with Matt Shaw, like, honestly. But I just, like, I see the Angels. I like the Angels for Arenado, but I don't see anyone else to, like, give them anything more than, like, cash considerations, right? Like, I don't think they would get anything back. It would be like the Dexter Fowler trade where they sent him to Anaheim and got nothing, which is fine. I'm okay with that. But I don't think anyone else wants him, which is funny that there is one team that wants him, and it's the one team we would all guess that would want a name like that. But
yeah. Can I jump in on something real quick?
Yeah.
I get the idea, and I know people tried this where it's like, oh, package Arenado and Donovan together. I think that's a horrible. I mean, and Uncle Ted, appreciate you. You're always in here, and you throw out great ideas and stuff. Here's why I think that's a really bad idea. Is I would much rather move Nolan for literally nothing and eat all of the contract than to lessen Brendan Donovan's trade value. I don't like that. And I get, like, and I also, first of all, I don't think the Red Sox offer Bello and Casas for that. I mean, even if they do, I don't think I want that. I want prospects in return for Brendan Donovan if they're trading him, fit the timeline. And for Nolan, I don't care what you get back at this point. I do think there's a potential world where he maybe has, like, the slitherest of trade value if you eat all the money, if the third base market falls in such a way that a team like the Diamondbacks or Red Sox feel like they need him. But I do think with you, Andrew, I think it ends up being a Dexter Fowler type deal, and you throw him. At this point, you're basically cutting bait. I don't think you attach him to a valuable player and lessen that player's value. So, Sandy, I don't know where you're going with that, but I just want to. Yeah, that's one I don't agree with.
It would look a lot like the Mookie Betts, David Price deal on a smaller scale, albeit you're not like as bad as Arenado. Well, Arenado's contract might be as bad as that, and Brendan Donovan's not the player Mookie Betts was. But
yeah, but it's an interesting point because it's like people critique the deal. And it's like, well, they always leave out the fact that David Price's contract was in it, which was a major reason why.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, David Price was a terrible asset. The thing is, Arenado is a huge negative asset, and I would rather just pay the money and take the negative asset and get your big positive asset in Donovan than putting them together and having like a net zero. And it's like, okay, what's coming back now? Because they probably would just take a bunch of money. And I'd much rather the Cardinals spend money to get prospects than save money to not get prospects. But yeah, the other thing is, answer this question, guys. If it's like March 10th and there's no deal for Arenado, would the Cardinals DFA him?
They're not. They've said that pretty clearly.
If there's no deal for Arenado, and
I think they've said that pretty
on the roster, you think there's no chance they would just release him?
I mean, Heim has made it pretty clear. I don't know. Maybe he's just blowing smoke, but I don't think they will.
I think he might be.
Okay.
The thing I do like about the Angels is like if there is one team in all of baseball that's dumb enough to actually give something up of value for him, it's probably them. Or like the Rockies, but the Rockies aren't taking him back. But whatever.
Yeah. Okay. So here's something though too. Like I think obviously Arenado is not like a good player anymore. He's average, but I think we all agree. Would we be surprised if Arenado bounces back in a decent way? I think a little bit. But would I be shocked if Arenado is a 105 WRC plus guy next year with not elite defense, but very good defense? No, I would not be shocked. And that player is pretty valuable. Like we're not talking about like worth a return really, especially because you're banking on the risk there. But if you gave me an average player, Arenado, so I like Fangraphs has his dollar stat where they take WAR and kind of convert it to what your fair market value would be. Arenado was worth about $7 million last year, and he had a horrible year and played in just 107 games. So if he's even just a little bit better next year and plays in 130 games, he's like a $9-10 million player. And so this is why when people say to me like, okay, no team's going to take him. Okay, yeah, maybe if you had to pay him $10 million, but I'm telling you, I would not be shocked. And I would be surprised that the Cardinals weren't willing to literally move it down to like $5 million a year that a team had to pay him. And I can't wrap my head around there being 29 other teams. Well, I guess it's less than that because it's teams that Nato had to go to. But I doubt that there's not a team out there that Nato would want to go to that wouldn't be willing to risk $5 million, $3 million to see if it works. Because if it doesn't, you cut bait like any other player you could pay at that range, and you kind of just push it away. He could end up being an everyday third baseman for you that's a pretty good player, not a star by any means, but a pretty good player who's worth more than what you're paying him.
And super
cheap. Or he could even be a platoon player or a part-time player for you. Like that's what Nato could be at this point. But if you're paying $5 million for that, that's basically no risk. So that's where I can't see a scenario here where they get stuck with him. If they get stuck with him, that's their own fault. I guess we can't totally say that we know what the conversations are, but again,
I mean, there is a chance that like the only teams that want him are like the Rockies and like the A's and the Angels, and like the Angels come calling and he's like, actually, I don't want to play for you guys because you guys are terrible. But
yeah, that's true. So he also could be the component.
There could be that. I could see that happening. I don't know why anyone would want to go there, to be honest. But good for him, I guess.
But yeah, I mean, seriously, I feel like if he's open to Anaheim, would Anaheim not take Arenado for $5 million?
Oh no, they would.
And also like Boston, like at some point, I mean, would Boston for $5 million take a flyer on Nolan? Not even as their primary, like they might already have a third base. They might bring back Bregman. I mean, that would be tough. I don't know how they do that. But like the Tigers or the Cubs or the Mariners, the Diamondbacks, like we're talking about like $5 million here. If he was a free agent, I think he gets signed for that. What have the Yankees
done this offseason?
Yeah, the Yankees. That's another one.
Paul DeYoung.
They just signed Paul DeYoung. I think that's the only move they've made, right? Am I wrong?
Because so that's a great example because Ryan McMahon was terrible for them last year, and Bat's left-handed, and it's like, okay, could they convince themselves they have Ryan McMahon and Nolan Arenado coming to camp, and they pay Nolan basically nothing, and they see what happens? I mean, again, I think that makes more sense than the Cardinals not willing to budge, but I could be wrong.
Yeah.
Is
there? So I mean, when I look at teams, like I think the Yankees maybe, I think the Angels to me still feel like the team that will end up happening. The Diamondbacks, I mean, the Red Sox if the Bregman market doesn't fall their way potentially, and they don't trade for like a Donovan type. Maybe the Tigers. Like, am I missing any teams in there that you guys could think of that like maybe they would jump in? And again, if we're talking like they're literally gonna pay him $2 million, I think more teams potentially are in on that. But like, I don't know.
I mean, I think that's probably pretty close to what it is. I don't know if there's really anybody else. I don't know. Houston made sense last year, but probably not anymore.
Yeah.
I wonder about like
a guy. I don't know.
No, Suarez walked.
I feel like Seattle
Cincinnati.
Seattle would be such a weird place for him to go.
Cincinnati's got too many infielders on the left side.
Pittsburgh would be fun. I'll take it. They didn't get Okamoto, so they could be in the market too.
Not gonna lie, it'd be kind of fun. Like, I think Pittsburgh's gonna be pretty darn good next year. Better than. I mean, I think a lot of people are jumping on the Pirates hype train now, but I think it could be interesting for Nolan to be on that Pirates team. Baltimore's Gunnar Henderson. It's all in chat, and I don't see that happening. But I guess he's playing shortstop for them still. Who's playing third base for them right now?
I don't know.
I'm trying to think. Jackson's playing second for.
They have all of the Cardinals though. Like they have O'Neill,
Westberg, right?
Mike Schilt is there.
Is Kierstead still there as a guy that could play on the left side of your infield? I think he's more like
I don't know if Kierstead's ever played infield though.
Yeah.
But anyways, they wouldn't do it. But the Yankees, I mean, maybe, but so who knows? But again, also
the KBO. Let's do that.
I take a player to be later for Nolan.
Yeah. I mean, that's probably what'll happen. So again, I want to remind everyone we're almost at 40 likes here. If we hit 50 likes on stream, I'll rip a pack, and we'll give you guys time to guess who's in it. And if you guess who's in it, I give away opening day tickets. Go for it.
Wait, one more question. Do you think if the Cardinals put together a deal like they did last year and Arenado declines the trade, do you think they just release him? I'd do that. If I put together a deal for Nolan Arenado a second year in a row and he nicks the trade, I think I'd release him like that.
I would release him.
Surely they know his list, right? Like he has to.
I mean, I think they thought they knew his list last year, and he declined to go to Houston.
Yeah, but then Houston traded Tucker, and he wanted to go to a contender. I feel like he's less willing to.
Houston looked like more of a contender than the Cardinals last year. So
yeah, they did.
I think.
But
I mean, he's been open though that he knows it's different this year. I think last year he was picky because it's like you can have a list, but then have like a tier to it where it's like I really want to go to Boston.
What if the Angels put the deal together? The Cardinals know there's nobody else, and Arenado says I'm not going. Like I would release him.
I think if he's on there, if he's open to going there, then I would be shocked if he doesn't say yes at that point. I don't think
I agree with that.
Thing. But yeah, I mean, I'm open. They said they're not going to do it, but I'm open no matter what happens. That if you can't find a trade, you release him. But I would much rather trade him and get $2 million of relief than just release him. Like,
absolutely, absolutely. But I think like at play, there's obviously salary relief, Arenado's performance, and the runway that'll open up for somebody else. And it's like I'd just rather not have him there. I think runway. You're a runway. I think the opportunity, the at bats, right? Arenado sucks up if he plays if he's here, he's going to probably be your starter, and he's going to suck up 600 plus at bats. And to me, that's just as valuable as whatever couple million you might get by, holding on and trying to trade him again. So I'd release him.
I mean, the other side of it too, and then I think we should move to Donovan stuff a little bit is, I mean, all he's got to be, they've got to handle old Nolan different this year if he was on the roster. Like he can't play every day. He can't be the prior. Like he's got to be like, okay, if you're going to be here, we'll play you when we feel like it, but you're not the penciled in at third base every day guy anymore. I mean, I'm not, especially because they're probably going to trade Donovan. I'm not going to be like crying if Thomas Saggese isn't playing every day or if Nolan Gorman isn't playing every day. So like, I don't have a huge issue with that, but I would much rather see those young guys get more at bats than be feeding him to Nato at this point. But, and I hate talking like this about him because I feel like last year and a half years, it's like, we're like basically Debbie Downers on it. And I respect him so much. And I also think the Cardinals did miss the boat in 2022, and also, he didn't hit in the playoffs either, so it goes both ways. And 2023, he produced most of the year, and the Cardinals fell on their face. So like this failed era isn't on Arenado, but it's also partially on him. But it just sucks that we're talking about a guy that when they acquired him, you told me Paul Goldschmidt and Nolan Arenado, this should have gone way different. And so it's frustrating that we're talking like this about it. And it doesn't mean we dislike the guy. Just it's time to move on. So a guy that, again, we wish he didn't have to move on from, but it seems like the Cardinals are going to. And I think, again, for the right deal, makes sense. Brendan Donovan, I also think people are getting a little bit angsty about the Brendan Donovan side of things now. And I do think there's a real potential they hold on to him because if the Cardinals don't get their asking price met, why should they trade him? They don't have to do it. It does seem like the Mariners are a team that their switch pitcher, gosh, I can't remember his name off the top of my head right now for some reason, I'm blanking. It's been reported that by Mariner sources that he's on the table right now. Top 100 prospect guy, especially from the right side, is pretty dominant. I want to bring
prospect.
He would become your favorite prospect, which makes sense. I guess same question to the Nolan Arenado stuff. I'll start with you, Sandy. Like, is there any, I don't know if hesitation is the right word. Is there any fear? I don't know. How are you feeling about the Donovan sweepstakes saga at this point?
Well, it's another episode and Brendan Donovan's still on the team. And it felt like a deal was imminent in like mid-December, late December. And now, I don't know, it's January 4th. Granted, there was that break for the holidays where the market kind of froze. And I feel like things are back up and moving now. And I don't know, there's no news, there's no nothing. And so it feels like things have really slowed down. What's probably happening is the Cardinals haven't budged and other teams haven't budged either. And eventually someone probably will budge. But like, I know this is probably not true, but it just feels to me like every day we wait, I'm like, oh, maybe he sticks around. Maybe we get another year. So I don't know. I mean, talk to me in 2 weeks, right? And then I guess I'll have a better idea, but we all will. I'm just not sure. I think I'm still at like 80-20, but that's a far cry from like the 99-1 where I was like, he is traded. He's being traded tomorrow. He's being traded in an hour. Whereas now, we were just hoping he would still be on the team for the charity stream. So, It wouldn't be this weird thing where it's like, oh, they traded you. Sorry. Whereas now I'm like, well, he's still here. It's the new year.
Now I wish it would have happened. So you would have to be like, hey, Brendan, I traded you. Sorry.
See you later. Yeah. But I mean, so we're here in the new year and it's like I think Jeff said this to us where it's like, there's some level of respect for a player, especially a player like Brendan Donovan, who has all this uncertainty all year, where you don't just want to trade him in February, where it's like, one, deals don't really happen in February. They do sometimes, but it's more the free agent market that finally gets moving. Like those top tier free agents usually come off the board. But a trade where it's like, you're in control of where this guy's going. He has no control for the most part. Donnie has no trade clause. There's not a list, right? He has no control of where he's going. You don't want to just do that and tell him like, oh, move, see ya, with 2 weeks left to figure that out. It's a lot of logistics. So I don't know. I think if we get to February 1st, I'm going to drop to like 50-50. I don't think we'll get there. I'm still like 80-20, but it's interesting. And it feels like we're getting to the point now where I'm starting to wonder, are they going to get this done?
I'm greedy. I want to shake his hand and win a warm up and thank him for doing the charity stream. So I'm greedy. Let's keep him another 2 weeks. Why not?
I'm in.
Do you think that the probabilities have changed though?
For sure. I mean, I think I was like you said,
99%.
Yeah, I was very sure it was going to happen just because that's what everyone was saying. Like, again, we're from the beginning of season. Yeah, we were like, it's going to happen. But from the beginning of offseason, I think we're all like, hey, we know it's probably going to happen, but we wish it wouldn't. But here we go. We've accepted it. I do think the Sky Boys comment here, I think is where I don't agree that this is what's happening here, but I think it's something Heim's going to have to prove in his time here because of how things went in Boston. I think there's a sentiment right now that Heim can't make decisions. And that's a common critique of him, and I don't think an unfair critique of him about how things went in Boston. But I think when it comes to the Brendan Donovan sweepstakes, it's been reported from the very beginning and consistently reported since that the Cardinals have a high asking price for him, and they're not budging from it. They're not going to move him for something less than what they think he's worth, which I fully agree with, and I'm very glad that they're doing. They value him. And Jeff Passan went on Twitter the other day or on Threads the other day to defend it because someone asked if the Cardinals asking price and Donovan's gone down. He said no, and rightfully so, because Donovan is a guy they don't have to trade. They would like to trade because they think he can get them a lot of assets in return, but they see he's an extremely valuable player, and a ton of teams are going to want his versatility and utility. He's not a utility player. He's a great, and when people go, he's just a utility player, everyone knows what that means, right? It's the guy that maybe plays every day, but it's probably more of a bench guy who fills in wherever. No, Brendan Donovan is a great player, not a superstar, but he's a great player who has utility. He can play wherever you need him to. And that kind of player, I think the Cardinals are pretty confident that, hey, no team is going to come out there and be like, oh, we'll give you, they're not going to give you their best offer right away. They want him for less.
Yeah, I mean, the utility player on the Cardinals is like Jose Fermin. I don't, that's not.
It's not. And obviously it's not Brendan Donovan. And you've got, especially like Seattle Twitter out there who wants to act like Brendan Donovan is like barely a above league average player. And I love I'm Adam K, who came on for, I forget your last name right now. I'm so sorry. But he does awesome stuff. Awesome follow over on Twitter, Torts Illustrated without the syllables at the end of there. It writes for Prospects Live. You can find him on Twitter. I'll link some stuff for him later. He does great stuff, but he pulled this up, and I thought it was a really good point. I've thought about this in terms of extending, but not necessarily his trade value. When you look at kind of how Fangraphs breaks down, again, every front office view things differently. So prospect evaluations vary, and how they value other players varies. But Donovan's pretty much put himself, and you can go look more on Twitter, at a 2 top 100 prospect value. That's objectively what the numbers say he's worth. And so for the Cardinals to hold a line that we want Ryan Sloan, or we want the switch pitcher and another Arroyo type and more, yes, please do that. Because I also don't think, is Brendan Donovan probably at his highest value today? Yeah. And so would he technically lose value at the trade deadline? Probably. But also, what if he ends up doing what he did in the first half of 2024, but doesn't have turf toe and plays all the way through the trade deadline with a 135 WRC plus bat, knowing you can play wherever? I don't know if he would be more valuable than he is right now, but I don't think he'd be less valuable than he is right now. I think the Cardinals are in a spot where they should hold the line of say, we've got the control here. We've got the player you want. We do not have to trade Brendan Donovan. We will take an offer if it meets our asking price. But if you don't meet it, we're out. And if you start budging on asking prices all the time and you're like, hey, it's this, but teams know they can negotiate you down every time, then you're not a great front office. Again, if you have a player at the deadline that has no control and you've got literally 3 more days left, you can trade him and then they're just going to walk. You just take the best offer you can. When you got an asset like Brendan Donovan, who honestly is your only top trade asset now. Sonny Gray wasn't technically a top trade asset, but they ate a lot of money to get something good. Wilson Contreras got you some stuff, but it's not elite. Donovan's the one guy that they're potentially open to moving that can get you top prospects. And the Cardinals aren't a bottom farm system in all of baseball right now. It's not like they can't afford to not get the return here. I think obviously we all agree if you're going to trade Brendan Donovan, adding these top prospects would be huge for the farm system. But we're talking about, Sandy, you were on this and I pushed back for a while, but Baseball America agrees with you and a lot of these outlets agree with you. The Cardinals have a top 5 system in baseball. Now, part of it's because of the returns they've gotten this offseason, but teams the outside views the Cardinals with strong prospects right now, so they're not desperate. Honestly, the thing that they're missing is multiple high-level more prospects, where Baez, Rynel, Doyle, and JJ fit the bill, but then it's a lot of 50, 45 grade guys, more 45, 40 grade guys.
They have as much depth as anybody. It's the question of, can they bring in a true high ceiling guy? And that's why when people say oh, Laz, for example, from the Mariners, whatever. Laz is not a better prospect than Joshua Baez right now. He's not a better prospect than several guys. And he's not it doesn't make the Cardinals system that much better. Ryan Sloan makes the Cardinals system a lot better. It's one guy. I get why Seattle doesn't want to part with him, but that's the fit for this Cardinals system. They need a true front end potential starter. And that's what they should be looking for Donovan.
Yeah. And so they should be holding out for that multiple 55 grade guys or 55, 50 grade guys or a 60 grade prospect. They should be holding out for an awesome return. If they don't get it, then guess what? Seattle, you don't get Brendan Donovan. And I get that their Twitter doesn't think he's that good right now, but I'm telling you, Seattle, I'm going to be so happy. I'm going to be happy for you guys when you're tweeting in the middle of May that Brendan Donovan is awesome and you're so glad you have him, because you're going to understand how valuable he is. This is not to me can't wait to pull the wool out from underneath you. And we stole all these prospects for you for just Brendan Donovan. I'm like, I'm so sad I'm losing Brendan Donovan, but I'm glad we got all these prospects back because he's going to be awesome in Seattle. I will say we just hit our like goal, so I'll rip this here soon. So, Andrew, how about your spawn, and then we'll do the thing here.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think. I think they should just hold on to him as long as they can until someone blows them away, because like, just extend it, man. Like, I don't get it. Whatever. I understand why they're not doing it. I understand, like, the window or whatever, but like, maybe I'm biased. You know what? This actually might be This actually, you might have to shut me up because I had Brendan Donovan on my podcast.
Okay.
So, oops, my bad.
Do we think Donnie had 2 good months? Like, I think this is, I'm sorry, but I want to disagree with this. There's a comment here that says Donnie had 2 good months. I disagree with this. And I think this is a misunderstanding of who Donnie is as a player. What my favorite characteristic of Brendan Donovan, and I'm a Brendan Donovan enjoyer. We're all Brendan Donovan enjoyers on this show. Like, my favorite characteristic about him is the level of consistency that he's exhibited as a big league player. Brendan Donovan is about as proven as like legitimate MLB talent can get. He's been in the league for 4 years now, and he's been good to very good every year. Yeah, he hasn't been like he was an all-star this year. At the end of the season, if we voted again, he probably wouldn't have been an all-star. But Donovan every single year puts up a WRC plus over 110, which makes him a valuable to very valuable hitter. It's a sliding scale, okay? Yeah, he's not putting up these 160, but who is, right? Like, the Cardinals, they're not rolling in those guys. It's very few guys can do that kind of thing on a scale like that.
I mean, he's his career 119 WRC plus bat.
20% above the average
when he got hurt, he was on like a 7-week run where he was DHing every day. It was like a 140 WRC plus bat, and then they shut him down for the year because, like, hey, we're done, so we might as well shut you down. If I wish he wouldn't have played, I so badly wish he wouldn't have played through that toe injury this year, because he could have shown that like that stretch where he played through it and is like an 80 WRC plus, so that stretch killed his stats. Also, just want to point out for Skyboy's sake, he was pointing out he was just I'm back. Skyboy was saying that he was just messing around. He was doing the whole comment that other people say on that. So
yeah. Because I see that all the time. Awesome. People say that.
Also, again, I don't think people fully realize this, but in Donovan's rookie year, was Fangraphs put him at a $20 million player. 2023, when he played like 80 games, a $12 million player. 2024, $25 million player. In this past year, which again, he played like 2 months with turf toe, a $23 million player. Brendan Donovan's awesome. Is he a superstar? No, but I think he's in that weird class that's probably not that many players of, like, not a star who's like your best player on a team, but he is like awesome. Like, complimentary player is not a great way to say it. He's like awesome, like supporting star, if that makes sense. So again, I'm gonna put up a timer here. This is how we did the last few times. Yeah, so I'll explain it and then let people do when I say now. So not yet, but I'll rip this pack, and if you guess one of the players that's in this pack, I'll contact you and we'll figure out how to get you opening day tickets this year, or the equivalent value of that type of thing. Okay, they're not gonna be the best tickets in the world, but they will be good. So okay, I'm gonna hit the timer.
You'll be in the stadium.
You'll be in the stadium. I promise it won't be the top. I'm gonna hit the timer now. Each person gets one guess, so don't overdo it. You get one guess who you think's in the pack starting now, and give you 30 seconds to guess, and then I'll rip the pack. And if you guess one of the players that's in it, we'll give it away here. So thanks again for liking the stream. It really helps us out a ton. So we'll get those guesses in here. Yeah. Any other Donovan stuff before? I guess we can touch on some Jojo Romero at some point too. So I've seen that comment pop in a ton in the chat, but I'll give it an extra like 10 seconds or so because I know there's like a delay on here.
Andrew, you got anybody? Are you guessing?
I guessed.
You didn't.
Who'd you guess?
Shohei.
Oh,
PCA.
Okay. 3,
PCA.
2, 1.
Justin
Okay.
Henry
So last guess is Luis Ariz is the last guess I see on here. Okay. Here we go.
I remember when
I'll let the Ralph Aaron Judge comment stick in there too.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go.
Oh,
Blake Snell.
That's a good one.
Did anyone say Blake Snell?
No.
Oh, who's that?
Is this Rooks? She does like NBA stuff, I think. Josh Naylor.
Oh man, these are real players.
Aaron Nola. Oh, One fell. Kirby Puckett. And then
I thought that was Blake Snell for a second.
I don't think anyone got it this time.
Haven't gotten one yet. Eventually someone will get it and it'll be awesome because Josh
will spend
money
to 6-7 likes, then Josh will do it again.
6-7. Okay, yeah. If we get up to 6-7 likes, I'll rip one more over on. And I guess maybe we can find out as a conversation like this. Do you guys think any of the other anyone else gets moved? Because I think we're talked about Donovan, we talked about Arenado. Do we think that JoJo gets moved before spring? Do we think Newbar potentially gets moved? Nolan Gorman. Do you guys think?
I think it makes sense to trade Romero. I don't know if they're going to do it because I don't know what the return for Romero really looks like right now. And again, they've unloaded so much their bullpen via free agency and last year's deadline that you need somebody to pitch back there. It's a lot of spots to fill right now. Maybe he gets traded. I saw some people saying that they should trade a Riley O'Brien or a Matt Savanson. It's sure, if the right deal showed up, but I don't see that happening.
Which one of us are they calling Bob Dylan?
I don't know.
We love Bob Dylan. Or Bob Dylan. We
like
Brendan
Donovan, but whatever.
I'm the biggest Brendan Donovan fan.
I mean, I think I agree with you. It definitely makes sense to trade JoJo. I don't know if it happens at this point. I put the odds definitely less than Brendan Donovan and Nolan, but we'll see.
The reliever market's just weird during the offseason because I feel like I've said this before, but it's you can trade for a reliever and that costs you prospects and you have to pay their salary. And relievers are, for the most part, are paid so little that it's basically fair market value no matter what, right? Romero's going to make $6 or $7 million next year, right?
Yeah.
What is that? Is that the range he's in? So it's you probably could just sign a guy like JoJo Romero for that cost and you don't have to pay prospects. Really, the reliever market shapes up every year at the trade deadline because you can't sign anybody because there's nobody available. And now you have leverage, but you have no leverage because most relievers are on short-term deals during the offseason. So it's very easy to just acquire somebody. So I just don't think it makes sense. Also, controllable relievers, that market just usually never develops. So maybe that guy that got traded from the Nationals, yeah, I guess that one made sense because they might use him to start. But Riley O'Brien's not going to be a starter. Matt Swanson probably never going to be a starter. So it doesn't make sense to make a trade like that. I just can't see that happening.
You're right, Dalton. I definitely forgot for JoJo's 6-7.
Kids are going to be so disappointed in me for not making a 6-7 joke.
Is this still going? I thought this thing was done.
The chat asked for it. I didn't.
This just appeared that trend just appeared, and I didn't know what it was for a long time, and I still don't really understand it. I thought it was gone.
I also think it's dumb, but I think it's so funny that Haim said it. So I was I'm gonna throw it.
Yeah, that's fine. That's
I'm saying we should grow the soundboards. We've got other sounds to go to. I feel like that would take us to the next level. So if you guys have fun, I feel like
I'll just put the one of me saying Fetty will regress big time, and you guys can
us laughing at it. That would actually be interesting. Or I feel like the Mo telling what's his face, telling
jump out of his car.
Of a car like that. What?
Oh, no. It's incredible.
Gosh, there's just too many good quotes. I feel like we could have philosophical differences. We could have patience. I feel like there's so many soundboardy things we could have here. So
philosophical differences is a classic.
We need 12 more likes, guys. There's 101 people in here. Definitely not 6-7 of them have liked the stream. So
that's true. So if we get to the 6-7, I'll do one more pack before we jump off stream. And I know some of you are probably I don't want to go to opening day, so I'll DM you and figure out what's a trade-off if you don't want to go there. But I am going to I'll say real quick, I'm going to the Bears game this weekend, and they're not playing all that well right now. I'm watching it from the side, but see if they can make the comeback. They do but Iceman does have the ball down 8 right now, so love to see it. But I'm very excited.
Iceman now?
You haven't seen that? That's his nickname.
No.
Everyone calls him Iceman.
Oh man,
Caleb,
is he going to have the Bears' first 4,000-yard season?
Not on pace to do it right now. He's 114 yards. It was not a good start to the game. He would need a big fourth quarter. But
yeah, because I think he needed 300-ish.
No, to be I think it was 120 or something like that for 140, yeah, to be it was 270 to be the all-time single season Bears passing leader.
Yeah, he might get there.
210 or 220 yards, which is just such a low bar.
Because they've never done it. It's awesome.
So
let's keep that up.
Oh man, we're very close to the light goal here. I'm trying to extend us a few more minutes if we can. We just need 7 more.
We need the Cardinals to do something now, because this offseason, like, there have been moments of greatness and then a lot of boring nothing in between them. You know, like there's been no buildup. Like, we didn't know Sonny Gray was being traded, and then he was traded. And then we thought Brendan Donovan was being traded, but we were just actually being lied to. And then we had no idea Contreras was being traded, and then he was traded on stream, which was awesome. But it's like those moments, and then there's nothing the rest of the time. Yeah. And the Cardinals, there's no speculation. Like in a normal Cardinal offseason, there's this speculation of who might they add and who's a fit for the team.
No, Josh was on Dustin May since like the trade deadline.
True. But even it's not like there's no talk of like, what if they make a splash in the free agent market, or like who's a pitcher that the Cardinals could really go trade for. There's no fun speculation. It's just,
all these Japanese guys, they could have afforded all three of them.
Well, they were never in on any of them. They probably were never in on any of them.
I do think there's the fact that they've eaten so much money on these other deals, though, I think has partially. I think they chose you'd rather buy prospects than potentially free up money to buy free agents, and I'm totally fine with that. Again, I don't think I'm patient with them this year, but I think anyone in the chat who's like, don't excuse them not spending, I excuse it in the way they're doing it this year. But I mean, we get to end of 2027, going into 2028, stuff like that. Where patience is going to be running thin if they keep doing stuff like, oh, we're running $105 million payroll. This year, I understand it. If you're they're like eating money into. I'm trying to think of like what's the like equivalent of another sport, but they're like almost like they're buying future value that you don't see on the pay sheet right now. And also they're investing in areas like scouting. I think is a great example of yes, the financial investment is not the same $200 million deal you could give to someone else, but you can get insane surplus from it. We're like, look at Seattle, and when you hit on Brian Wu and you hit on Bryce Miller and you hit on these type of guys, that they have like $90 million of surplus value between the two of those guys. And so Time has chosen to build out their player development system, that he's chosen to build out a scouting department, which other organizations have cut back on or completely eliminated. Because if these guys who are getting paid $80,000, $50,000, I don't know how much they get paid, $120,000 hit, you can potentially turn back millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars of surplus value. So that's, I think I'm in this stage of the rebuild. I like that they're investing in that. And then they have to figure out, how do they keep investing in that stuff while also investing in the roster long term? That's how you maintain being a good contender. Also, I mean, there is like luck too, where like Tarek Skubal could have had 3 elbow injuries by this point and never been the guy we know him to be, right? Like, what happens if Alex Rodriguez never gets hurt? Like, does Mo get as much hate as he? I mean, that wasn't going to change it, but like, there is an element of luck that does go into some of this stuff. But also, if you have like 15 guys you can look at, then you're not relying on one Alex Reyes here. You're relying on 4 of those types in your system. You have a better chance of hitting. But anyways, we're 5 likes away from 6-7 to one more. So we'll see.
It's so easy for 5 people to just like this so that Josh has to spend money.
Well, he hasn't yet. We've done this a lot of times.
Yeah, I do. I get more nervous every time now, though. I'm like,
more DeWitt bootlicking.
Okay, Skyboy. I think we're missing. I think he might mean it that time, but he has been doing fake troll comments of like. What
There's good trolling. I bit on one of them, but look, it's. I've seen the take too many times to not bite on it. So
I know.
I'm sure you don't actually hold the opinion, but I've seen too many people that think it's true, and so it had to be addressed.
Yeah, that was the hard part about, I feel like, the last few years, and I hope in the future we can have continued grow and nuance of. It's just like, you can fully be in critique mode of something, even think like Mo shouldn't be running the team anymore, stuff like that, but also compliment something too. Or you can say, hey, this wouldn't be how I do it, and I much prefer that they went out and signed 2 aces and Sonny Gray and Yamamoto after 2023. But like, hey, I see how Kyle Gibson and Lance Lynn could work, and guess what? It actually did. The offense just didn't perform. But it doesn't mean you're bootlicking. But I feel like sometimes you get like the whole like, oh, there you are, you're like a shill. And I'm like, okay, I feel like it's okay to like also, like, if this is the route they're going, do we just want to sit here and get on a mic every time and just complain they didn't sign Yamamoto every single podcast? Is that what you want to listen to? Or do you want us to like be like, okay, they went this route, we wouldn't have gone this way, but how can it work? Like, I'd much prefer to do that. So anyways, yeah, 4 more likes. I don't know if I can hold out much longer, guys. There's a big fourth quarter going on for the Bears here. So I might do it in anticipation, because I know we'll hit 6-7 later, but
I mean, we'll get there.
Yeah. Or 64. But I'm trying to look in the chat real quick to see if there's any other random things that we want to hit on potentially. It does feel like this comment. It does feel like Quinn Matthews we've been waiting on for a little while now. Here's a really interesting one real quick, and then maybe if we don't get the light goal, then we'll just wrap up. But I feel like prospect fatigue is hitting on cafeteria's salad bar. Hey, that is maybe that's something from Bloom today. They did talk about how the facility in Jupiter will be ready. They did add a cafeteria, which is new. That's awesome. They can feed everybody. Way to go, Cardinals. And
but no salad bar, please. Not for Dustin until they trade.
Okay,
Dustin.
we hit 6.
Oh, we hit
All
it,
right,
we hit
here
it.
we go. All right, here, you know the drill. When I say go, you can type in one name that you think is in the pack. We'll give you 30 seconds to do that, and if you guess it, then I'll talk to you about getting you opening day tickets or the equivalent of that. So, here we go, starting now. Keep Dustin away from the salad bar. Jeez.
Really funny.
Ruthless.
It's
oh
real.
yeah, it's an Allen and
real.
Ginter pack. Sorry guys, I should have shown the pack on that.
Show me Justin Steele.
So you can literally can guess Livy Dunn in this, and she might be in
Livy
it.
Dunn is in there. If you had last year's, you could have said Caleb Williams.
Oh, true. I think I have one of those.
Iceman.
I did. I got a Caleb card that is like tripled in value in the last few months, and I'm like, this is awesome. And I'm not satisfied.
I got a card that's going to quadruple in value next year.
Okay. Yeah. Remember, it's
when he wins
one guess
an
per
MVP.
person. I'll give it 5 more seconds. 5, 4, 3.
Ooh,
2,
Gabriel Moreno. That's a fun
1.
pull.
He was in the last one, but he could be in the next one. I feel like that happens a decent amount. Okay, here we go.
Oh, I see Bader. Bader's in.
We'll do the Bader's last one.
Who's that?
I need Keegan Thompson, or Keenan Thompson. I said Keegan. I have no idea. Okay, Eric Keene. Oh, hold up. Did anyone say Yoshida? Or Yoshi? I said almost Yamamoto. Okay, I feel bad. This was not a good pack. This was all these are all former players or non-players. It's like a lighthouse.
No, but the last one.
Should I do one more? I feel like that was bogus.
Yeah, I feel like that pack's
all
stunk.
right. Sorry guys, that was bogus. We'll do one more.
Hey, how about everyone's last guess also counts for this one, so everyone gets 2 guesses for this?
Their guesses for this last one will go toward this one. I'll count the Beatty and Yvonne Herrera in here. Okay, here we go.
Big deal in the card.
And then we'll get some actual Lawrence Butler.
Oh.
I don't think I've seen him. Royce Lewis. Don't think I've seen
man.
him. Oh, this is Chrome. It's Joe Goding, Derek Jeter.
Is that Judge?
No, it's Derek Jeter.
Judge. Oh.
And then Dalton Rushing was the other one.
Oh, unlucky.
So I will go figure out. I'll get some Topps Chrome or something for
eventually.
in the future, so that it's not a mixture of boxers and celebrities in it as well, and former players. I mean, you can get some former players in those, but again, we do appreciate the support on the podcast. Seriously, go check out through Unforced Sports Cards and Collectibles and all the deals they have there. They've been an incredible sponsor of the podcast. And we know many of you have already checked them out before, and we'll continue to do more giveaways like this in the future, so don't worry. If you enjoy the content today, I know it's like a weird time of year, so we're trying to continue the conversation going, but we do go live twice a week over here. I think we've got Birds on the Farm coming next week with Kareem Hawk, and do some awesome content over there for prospect stuff. We really appreciate the support as always. If you're listening on audio, rate and review, especially on audio. We have a lot of listeners, but not necessarily a lot of people have reviewed it yet. So please do that. It helps the podcast a ton, helps us reach people. And then on YouTube as well. Even if you're listening on audio, if you have a YouTube channel, even if you're not going to watch this on YouTube, just hop over and subscribe. That helps our channel out a lot. Like the video, comment down below if you have some thoughts on it. Share with people you know. Again, we appreciate the support. You guys are the reason we can keep doing this. And I mean, we enjoy talking Cardinals baseball, but it's so much more fun. We get to talk it with you guys. It's fun when the live chat too, because we get to interact with a lot of what you guys are doing. It sounds like Barry's gonna be opening day with or without tickets, or with their tickets from me. But I'll be opening day.
Extra friends if you get Josh's tickets. Though.
That's true. So we'll have to figure out some kind of like thing I will figure out some kind of thing to meet up if people want to at opening day. But I think we'll be at winter warm up as well, so we'll let you guys know about that too. Happy 2026, everybody. We really appreciate all of you and your support. Again, hopefully there's some news to talk about here soon, but if not, we'll be back.
Fourth
year, baby. Pretty awesome. So appreciate the support as always. Like and subscribe helps the channel a ton. We'll see you guys next time.
Thanks, Nolan.
Thanks, Alan and Ginter.